Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Dragon Network. As you can see, we're going to be talking Pokemon today. In particular, I'm going to be talking about the new set rotation that got announced yesterday. I can't believe I missed this. It's going to be in effect as of August 28th, which will be after the Pokemon Plasma Class set comes out and after the World Championships gets wrapped up, which is in Vancouver, by the way. Nice how Pokemon's willing to hold their worlds in Canada, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Can't be damned to put more than one YCS in Canada. What the fuck, Konami? Sorry. We'll get back to Pokemon now. Anyway, so they've announced the rotations and what sets are going to be legal for the next format, and it's going to be next Destiny's On. And, well, we're actually not going to be losing as much stuff as I thought. Here's a quick list of all the things that I found that we're going to be getting rotated out, and while it isn't very much, a couple decks are going to be hurt. One deck flat out dies, and one is going to be just unplayable. So, first up, Energy Switch. It was used here and there, but honestly, I don't know really what would run it at this point. I mean, Kling has Kling, Dark decks have Hydreigon, but they're Stage 2 decks, and Kling is really still playable because of Plasma Kling. Recycle, flip a coin, put a card in your discard pile on top of your deck. If you're feeling lucky or you're running things like Fliptini, I guess it's a good card, but I don't really know if it was ever played. Crushing Hammer is going to hurt. Darkrai decks ran this in order to get energies off of things like it. It got rid of just about anything you needed, and granted it was a coin flip, but you could constantly recycle it through Sableye. With this gone, Darkrai's now have only Enhanced Hammer to get energies off, and it only hits special energies. So for decks that run on basic energies, like Blastoise and the upcoming Brazion Genesect deck, they aren't going to be hurt by Hammer Time. So, yeah, that's gonna hurt Darkrai. Then you've got the loss of Revive. This hurts quad decks like Quad Snorlax, as it was one of their best forms of Revival. You just put the Snorlax back onto your decks and you just keep recycling them. Now without Revive, you kind of have to rely on things like Super Rod to get them going and other things I might have forgotten. I'm sorry if there are a couple cards I'm missing out off the health decks. Pokemon Communication rarely saw play, but on the same time it was still a very good card. Just flat out swap a Pokemon in your hand into your deck and get something out. This was mainly used in Stage 2 decks, which is why it didn't see a whole lot of competitive play, because it was really Blastoise, Keldeo was, and Gothitelle Accelgar was really the only good Stage 2 decks along. Well, actually, so same for Plasma Clang, but anyway, back to my original point though. It hasn't seen a whole lot of play, but it's still going to be a card that we will all miss. Plus Power card kind of became irrelevant, seeing how Burbank City Gym, yeah, that's one thing, but more importantly, Hypnotoxic Laser does the same thing Plus Power does, but better. Energy Retrieval, this is going to be a bit of a hard hit, as Blastoise decks still ran this even with Superior out. Like, you would run a combination of both, just because sometimes you don't have the cards to discard for Superior Energy Retrieval, and just having more than 4 copies of a Retrieval would be nice. Now, Blastoise Keldeo is going to be running strictly on Superior Energy Retrieval. And I don't know how that deck is going to be doing next format anyway, now that we've got Genesect coming up. But, more on that another time perhaps. Super Scoop Up. I didn't think this was really played, but it was still a means of just recycling certain Pokemon effects, things that got effects upon being put face onto play, like Ninetales' Bright Look, Genesect, no, not Genesect, there's like an Aggron that does something else, like, I don't know what ran in Super Scoop Up, but I'm sure those decks are going to miss it. Electric with Dynamotor. This one hurts by far the most, like Rayquaza decks, Zekrom decks, just a lot of energy acceleration decks that relied on the Dynamotor ability are completely done. In fact, I don't know how Rayquaza is going to function at this point. Yes, you've got Emboar, but Emboar Rayquaza just is not as good as Electric Rayquaza. I guess you could utilize Superior Energy Retrieval to get the 4 fire energies back and just keep firing off 4 energy versions of Dragon Burst, but I feel it's just not as efficient. It's a Stage 2 reliant deck, and Stage 2 decks just cannot keep up with Eels unless they have, like, not Eels, I mean with EXs, unless they have insanely good consistency and damage outputs, and Rayquaza is just not Keldeo. So the loss of Electric is going to be felt by a lot of players, myself included. The loss of Gothitelle is also very painful, as Gothitelle Excelgor just won Nats, and it's one of the best decks in the game. Now, without this, there's no more item lock. Actually, I don't mind that a whole lot. I never really liked item lock, so the loss of Gothitelle doesn't hurt me a whole bunch, but it does hurt a lot of people who are playing Gothitelle, and this means that Gothitelle Excelgor, it's on you to win Worlds now, because after next month, your deck is done. And I don't know what Excelgor is going to be doing next format, given that Virizion Genesect is kind of like immune to all its charms. And Deck and Cover wasn't really seeing a whole lot of play until Gothitelle was thrown into the deck. Last card to mention, and it's just really a passing note, is Fliptini, the one that lets you flip coins again if you caught tails. This was used in a couple gimmick decks like Sharpedo, but overall, it's not much of a loss. That being said, as for what the next format's going to be, just based on predictions and reasoned guesses, I imagine it's going to be a fight between Genesect, Virizion, Team Plasma, maybe Darkrai, and that's kind of it. Blastoise fell off the map and didn't do as well as I thought it would have at Nationals, so I don't know where it's going to be after the next format begins. And we also have to take into consideration that Pokemon X and Y sets may be coming in at some point next format. They do talk about how they're going to be doing something about the 2015 season at some point next format. In addition to announcing our 2014 rotation, we're also pleased to give players a sneak peek at one of the changes that they will see in next year's expansion rotation. Starting in late 2014, a new TCG format will be joining the familiar modified format as a legal option for sanctioned Pokemon events of all sizes. Because of this new format will allow players to use all sets from Black and White on, players will have even more options in designing a winning deck. So, take that as you will. That being said, looks like next format is going to be, well, for better or for worse, the same as it is right now. Till next time, people.